Michael Jordan once got cut from a team. The coach later asked him for a favor he'd regret. The gym at Laney High School echoed with sneakers squeaking and whistles blowing. Basketball tryouts were in full swing, and the energy in the room was electric. Among the hopefuls was a 15-year-old named Michael Jordan, tall for his age, competitive, and already known for his quick first step and drive to win. Coach Leroy Andrews stood near the half-court line, clipboard in hand, eyes scanning the players. He had a tight rotation of returners he trusted and a couple of rising juniors he'd been watching since Summer League. Michael was on the younger side, raw, eager, and, according to the coach, too emotional. Jordan played like it was his last chance. He pushed hard on every drill, hustled on every rebound, defended with everything he had. But he missed a few layups. Got blocked. Airballed a jumper. Coach Andrews jotted something down on the clipboard and shook his head. Later that night, after practice, Michael stood outside the gym, sweat sticking to his shirt. His friend Leroy Smith walked out, grinning. "We did it, man. Varsity." Jordan managed a smile, but it faded when he realized what Leroy said. "We?" They had both tried out. But he hadn't been told anything. The next day, the list went up outside Coach Andrews' office. Players gathered around. Michael shouldered his way through the group. His eyes scanned the names, once, twice. His name wasn't there. No Jordan. His heart dropped. He blinked, stared harder, as if maybe he'd missed it. He hadn't. He backed away slowly, face blank. Nobody said much. A couple of players gave him a pat on the back. Most just avoided his eyes. At home, Michael walked straight to his room and closed the door. Then he cried. It wasn't just disappointment. It was humiliation. Everyone at school had expected him to make it. He'd told his family. He believed he had what it took. And now cut. Just like that. His mother, Dolores, knocked gently. "Mike?" she asked. "I'm fine," he said, voice tight. She knew he wasn't. But she also knew better than to push. She let him be. That night, Jordan stared at the ceiling for hours. A million thoughts ran through his head. Maybe he wasn't good enough. Maybe Coach was right. Maybe all those dreams were just that, dreams. But the next morning, something shifted. At dawn, while most kids were still asleep, Michael laced up his sneakers and ran to the local park. It was cold. His breath came out in foggy bursts. He dribbled until his fingers stung, practiced free throws until the ball stopped bouncing straight. Then he kept going. It wasn't glamorous. No fans, no lights. Just cracked pavement, a rusted hoop, and silence. He worked like he had something to prove, and he did. To Coach Andrews. To his teammates. To himself. He joined the junior varsity squad and dominated. Every game, he played like his life depended on it. Fast breaks, high-arcing shots, fearless drives to the hoop, he made sure everyone noticed. Word started to spread. That Jordan kid? He's something else. JV games started drawing bigger crowds. A few varsity players took note. Even Coach Andrews watched from the doorway sometimes, arms folded. But he never said a word. Not a compliment. Not a nod. Nothing. Michael didn't need it anymore. He wasn't playing for approval now. He was building something deeper, an edge. He began practicing every night. When others were out with friends, he was shooting. When others slept in, he was running drills. His older brother Larry challenged him constantly. "You're not tough enough," he'd say, knowing exactly how to get under his skin. "I'll beat you one day," Michael shot back. "Then stop talking and go earn it." Michael did. That season, JV finished strong. Michael led the team in scoring. He barely celebrated. Instead, he went straight back to work. He didn't forget the feeling of that list, the absence of his name, the silent judgment in Coach Andrews' eyes. In the hallway one day, he passed the coach. Andrews gave a nod. "Good season, Jordan." Michael paused. "Thanks, coach." That was it. Back home, his father, James, watched him shoot baskets in the driveway. "You still thinking about that cut?" he asked. Michael didn't answer right away. He took another shot, swish. "I'm not mad anymore," he said. "I'm grateful." His father raised an eyebrow. "If he hadn't cut me," Michael said, "I wouldn't have pushed like this." James nodded. "Then make sure you remember that. Fuel's no good if you waste it." Years passed. Michael's name started to show up in newspapers. His games at UNC turned heads. Sports reporters started mentioning how this kid from North Carolina had been cut from his high school team, and now he was one of the best college players in the country. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Back in Wilmington, Coach Andrews clipped a newspaper headline, "Michael Jordan drops 39, lifts Tar Heels." He read it twice, then quietly pinned it to the board in his office. He never called Michael. Never apologized. Never explained. But deep down, he remembered everything. So did Jordan. And he wasn't done. Not yet. Michael stood on the stage at the NBA draft in 1984. Third pick overall. Chicago Bulls. Cameras flashed, analysts gushed, and the crowd roared. He shook Commissioner Stern's hand, but behind the smile was focus, sharp, unflinching. He wasn't just here to play. He was here to dominate. The cut from Laney High had become part of his legend. Every interview circled back to it. "You really got cut in high school? What did that teach you?" Jordan would smile, say it made him hungry. But deep down, it still sat in his chest like a stone. Coach Leroy Andrews followed it all from his modest home in Wilmington. He had long since retired from teaching and coaching, slipping into a quiet life. People still recognized him, sometimes even thanked him. "You were Jordan's high school coach, right?" He'd nod, not always correcting them. He'd never admit it, but there were nights when regret crept in. He had told himself he'd made the right choice, Jordan wasn't ready. But now? Watching him soar while his own life faded into routine, he couldn't help but wonder if he had missed something bigger than talent. Years rolled on. Jordan turned into a phenomenon. Rookie of the Year. Slam dunk champion. MVP. The name Michael Jordan became more than a name, it became the standard. Endorsements, headlines, magazine covers. Coach Andrews clipped them all, quietly stuffing them into a folder he kept in a desk drawer. But behind the fame, behind the highlight reels, Jordan's world wasn't without friction. Fame came fast, and trust became scarce. His circle tightened. He leaned on his parents, his brothers, a few close friends. Everyone else had to earn their place. One afternoon, Jordan's manager, George, walked into the locker room with a letter in hand. "Something came in for you," he said, holding the envelope out. Jordan glanced at it. Handwritten. From Wilmington. He opened it. The handwriting was shaky. The note was short. "Mike, I know it's been a long time. I wasn't sure I should even write. Things haven't been easy. I'm dealing with some medical issues, and my wife left last year. I guess I'm just hoping, if there's anything you can do, maybe you could help me get a position. Even part-time. Maybe with the Bulls. I'd be grateful. Coach Andrews." Jordan stared at it. No emotion on his face. He folded the paper, slid it back in the envelope, and set it on the bench beside him. "Want me to toss it?" George asked. Jordan shook his head. "No. Let it sit." That night, he thought about it more than he expected. Not the request, but the timing. All these years, not a word. No call when he won Rookie of the Year. No message after he hit the shot at UNC. No congratulations. And now, he needed something. He hadn't forgotten what it felt like to be passed over. He hadn't forgotten how the coach never looked his way, even when he dropped 30 points in JV. It wasn't about money. It was about worth. About recognition. About being seen. He didn't reply to the letter. Months passed. The Bulls made the playoffs. Jordan put up monster numbers. Sports writers asked about his drive. "You ever run out of motivation, Mike?" He shook his head. "You'd be surprised what stays with you." The league kept changing, but Jordan's dominance didn't. His legend grew. Coach Andrews, meanwhile, found himself living off Social Security and small savings. He tried substitute teaching, but his health was fading. Some nights he stayed up late watching Bulls games on TV. Jordan looked unstoppable. Every dunk, every fadeaway, it reminded him of what he didn't see back then. He sent one more letter. This one longer. More honest. "Mike, I made a mistake when I cut you. I see that now. You turned into the greatest player the game's ever seen. I didn't see it then. I judged too fast. I'm sorry. I should have told you that a long time ago. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for a second chance. I don't expect anything. Just felt like I owed you the truth. Take care of yourself. Leroy Andrews." The letter sat on George's desk. Jordan hadn't read it yet. Then came the reunion banquet. It was Laney High's 25-year basketball reunion. Former players, coaches, alumni, everyone was invited. Jordan's name was on the guest list, though no one really expected him to show. But he did. He arrived late. Quiet. No entourage, no cameras. Just him. The room buzzed when he walked in. Conversation stopped. People turned. Some clapped. Others just stared. Coach Andrews was near the back. He hadn't seen Mike in decades. When their eyes met, the old coach stood. His hand trembled. He started walking toward Jordan. "Mike," he said. "Didn't think you'd come." Jordan looked him up and down. "Didn't think you'd write." Andrews gave a nervous chuckle. "You always had that stare." "You always had excuses," Jordan said, voice calm but firm. They stood there, two men from different worlds, tied by one moment neither could undo. "Look," Andrews said, "I didn't know what you'd become. I judged too fast. I'm sorry." Jordan nodded slowly. "I know." Andrews reached out a hand. "Maybe one day you'll forgive me." Jordan didn't take it. Instead, he turned toward the stage. "Got a few things I want to say," he said aloud. The room hushed. He took the mic, cleared his throat. Looked around. "I was cut from this team," he began. "Right here. Right in this gym. Some of you were here. Some of you weren't. But that moment, that cut, changed everything for me." People leaned in. I remember crying. I remember thinking maybe I wasn't enough. But what I really remember is that it lit a fire. One that never went out. He paused. Looked at Coach Andrews. Being cut wasn't the end. It was the beginning. And I don't hold grudges. I just remember what they taught me. Applause broke out. Some stood. Coach Andrews looked hopeful. Thought maybe this was the moment. But Jordan added, "Some mistakes, though, they come back. And when they do, you have to ask, are you sorry you made the mistake, or just sorry you need something now?" Silence. He handed the mic back and stepped off the stage. He walked past Coach Andrews without another word. Left the room before anyone else could stop him. Outside, in the night air, he took a breath. He hadn't yelled. He hadn't insulted. He didn't need to. Truth didn't need volume. Just timing. The banquet hall emptied slowly that night. Some guests whispered about what Jordan had said. Others stared in silence, unsure whether they had witnessed a tribute or a warning. Coach Andrews stood alone near the back table, one hand on the chair, the other stuffed in his coat pocket. No one approached him. Outside, Michael walked alone to his car. He wasn't angry. Not anymore. But he wasn't about to rewrite the truth just to make someone else feel better. Some things needed to be faced without a soft landing. That was something Coach Andrews had taught him, without even knowing it. Back in Wilmington, word spread fast about what happened at the reunion. People posted blurry pictures online, a few short clips of Jordan's speech. Headlines ran with it for a day or two, but it wasn't a scandal. It was just real. A moment between two people tied by an old decision. Weeks passed. Jordan went back to his life, games, endorsements, meetings. His schedule never stopped, but the letters from Coach Andrews stayed in a drawer. He hadn't thrown them away. He just wasn't ready to respond. He wasn't sure he ever would be. Then came the call. Coach Andrews had passed away in his sleep. Heart failure. Alone in his small house. No wife, no kids, just a few neighbors who barely knew him. The local paper printed a short obituary. Former Laney High basketball coach dies at 67. That night, Jordan sat alone in his apartment, staring at the folded letters again. He didn't feel satisfaction. He didn't feel regret. Just something in between. He called George. "Can you find out if there's a service?" he asked. A few days later, Jordan showed up at the cemetery. It was a cold morning. Only a handful of people were there, former players, a couple of school staff, an old friend from college coaching. No one expected Jordan to come. When he arrived, heads turned. He didn't speak. Didn't stand near the front. Just watched from a short distance, hands in his coat pockets, eyes steady on the casket. After the burial, one of the former Laney players, an old teammate named Marcus, walked up. "You okay, Mike?" Jordan gave a small nod. "Yeah. Didn't think you'd come." "I had to," Jordan said. Marcus looked at him for a moment. "You know, he talked about you more than anyone else. Always said you were the one that made him question himself." Jordan didn't smile. He should have questioned more than that. They stood in silence. "You think he meant it?" Marcus asked. Jordan thought for a moment. "I think he meant it when he needed something. But maybe that was the only way he knew how to show it." After everyone else left, Jordan stayed behind. He walked up to the headstone, crouched down, and placed a folded piece of paper on the grass. No one else saw it. He stood, gave a slight nod, and walked away without looking back. A few months later, Laney High held a small dedication ceremony. The gym was being renovated, and a donor had paid to upgrade the court, the scoreboard, and the locker rooms. It was the biggest improvement the school had seen in years. Jordan never publicly said he funded it, but everyone knew. The gym was named after Coach Roy Smith, a longtime assistant who had mentored players for 3 decades. Jordan personally requested the name. It surprised a few people, especially since Roy hadn't been the head coach. But when asked about it by a reporter, Jordan gave a short answer. "Roy was the one who kept talking to me after I got cut. He never promised me anything. He just kept asking if I was still working." The reporter pressed. "Do you think cutting you was the right decision back then?" Jordan smiled for a second. "Maybe. Maybe not. Either way, it's why I'm here." He didn't say more. The letters from Coach Andrews remained with him, tucked away in a private safe. Not because he cherished them, but because they were part of the foundation. Like a scar that reminds you where you've been. Years later, when Jordan gave his Hall of Fame speech, he mentioned a lot of names. Coaches, teammates, rivals. He even brought up being cut in high school, calling it the fuel. He didn't mention Coach Andrews by name. But he didn't have to. The story had already played out. He'd turned rejection into legacy. Silence into motivation. And when the man who cut him reached out for help, Jordan gave him something far more lasting than a job or money. He gave him the truth. No revenge. No rage. Just honesty. The kind that doesn't need applause. The kind that stays with you long after the buzzer sounds.